my floor used to be clean. And when you look at my mopping bucket with the mop water inside of it, it used to be clear. Tell the chef, try to write me up, and he's like, "You ain't doing your job." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Look at your mop bucket. It's clear and you can see through it." I say, with all due respect, sir, you can't clean a dirty floor with a dirty mop. And from that day, he saw something in me and he's like, "You know what? You want to be a chef?" And I said, "Yeah." You know? And normally some of the guys would say, being in stewarding, you have to be in stewarding for like a year or so. I was stewarding for like 2 months. And then the first job that I got was a runner, working in the coolers, learning inventory and stocking out of properly stock items and rotation and all that stuff. I didn't know what I was learning. All in all, I wanted a job. I didn't know one day that these things will help me one day when I become a chef. And I give thanks to the Father because He has placed a lot of chefs in my life that helped mold me into the chef I am today. To the point where I know every aspect of the kitchen because I've worked in it. Not just taught it, I've worked in it. I've worked the floor, I've worked the pot station. I can know when you're doing food. You can't tell me, but I'll tell you this pot is not washed properly. I'll tell you this floor is not mopped properly. You know, because I knew it. And because of that, and working with a lot of chefs, such as Chef Clement and Chef Stubbs and Deidre and Chef Sheen, and running from Chef Michael. And yeah, so it's a lot of chefs. Chef Jimmy, you know, working with a lot of chefs that helped mold me, and I'm a sponge. I always was a sponge. Any chef that I work underneath, I always learn something. To the point where I was working with this guy who was an Indian chef, and I said, "Wow, how do you cook this?" And he didn't want to teach me because he used to like just up all his ingredients under the table, and he would just cook. And I watched him, and I saw what he was doing, and I said, So the next day, it was the next week. After I watched him for the whole week, the next week I came, and I cooked everything that he used to cook to put on the Indian station. And I put a little Cat Island twist in that. But when they came down, they was like, "Wow, this is the best Indian food we had in a little while." I said, "Who cooked it?" They was like, "That same young man right there." And they couldn't believe it. You know, they couldn't believe it. They thought the other guy cooked it. And when he saw my talent, he was like, "You know what, I'm going to show you." And we became best friends. Became good buddies after that. And from there, I saw all kinds of sorts of stuff. Fruit carving, I learned that. First time I learned how to carve fruit out of watermelon, it looked like a car run out of it. But nevertheless, you saw that it looked like a flower. And then over the years, I perfected my craft and it's become way better than it was. And but first and foremost, my first passion is to my Heavenly Father.